So for the last year, I've been touring the country, doing these shows with the Monica Bill Barnes Dance Company, a professional dance company. They're great. They're really great. And we put together a show collaboratively that when I describe it to people, I know this show sounds awful. We're combining two things that nobody once combined at all, except us: dance and radio stories. I swear, it's really, really good. And we want to perform one of those for you now. And if you think about it, when we started to figure out how could we work together and do this, if you want to combine dance and radio stories, obviously the simplest way to do it is I would just tell a story about a dancer. And so when we started out, we were not above the most obvious thing. That is the first thing we tried. And that's what we're going to show you now. This is specifically the story about a dancer, professional dancer named Katie, who was touring with Riverdance. And there's a big production that goes into moving Riverdance across the country. It's 70 people, singers, there's a band, there's tech guys, there's support people, there's 40 dancers. They travel with a doctor. They're doing 8 shows a week. They're working every day. Any day they're not on stage, they're traveling to the next city. And they're 2 months into the tour. They're in Raleigh, North Carolina. Everybody's getting a little wound down, worn down by the grind. And the dance captain had this idea to kind of pick things up, right? He had read the Mega Millions lottery was at $360 million. Well, here's Katie to describe.
So he suggested that we all do a syndicate ticket. It's like you pool your money, and the pool buys a pool of tickets. Everybody has a share in all the tickets. We just thought for some reason if we focused all our energy on this, we were going to win it.
What do you get when you fall in love? A guy with a pin to burst your bubble.
So the idea is that each person would buy 5 tickets at $1 a ticket, total purchase $340, 340 tickets. Now, if you would stop and actually compute the odds of them winning, horrible. But they did not devote a lot of time to the pure math of this situation. Math seemed very somehow small-minded to them.
People even brought up theories of quantum physics and how we're all energy, and if we just focus our energy on winning this lottery, if there would be dissenters that would be the chances of us winning this, we'd be no, you're the chink in the chain. We need to focus all our energy on winning the lottery.
Don't tell me what it's all about, 'cause I've been there and I'm glad I'm out of those chains.
And then it just became kind of like a group psychology thing, right? Everybody's holding everybody else up.
It's kind of bizarre, how worked up you can get yourself. And one of the girls even said she'd been reading Deepak Chopra or something, and she was we can't say we're going to win the lottery. We have to say we've won the lottery. And then we'll win.
Never fall in love again.
So the days pass, and as the Mega Millions drawing approaches, naturally they start planning, all of them, what they're going to do with their winnings. You don't want a big pile of money like this to drop into your lap without a plan. There's a lot of discussion actually about whether they should just quit Riverdance that day once they were rich. Obviously a big decision, and they took the high road. They're just no, we should honor our commitment to Riverdance. Anyway, finally, it's the big night. It's the night of the Mega Millions drawing. It's a Tuesday night. It's a show night for them because every night is a show night. And backstage before the show, they gather, and the dance captain knows, okay, it's time to rally the troops.
He kind of made this speech and said, we want you to put all your energy into the show, and maybe we can win this thing.
You mean while you're dancing, you're sending that dancey energy through space?
Yes. Towards winning the lottery.
What do you get when you fall in love? A guy with a pin to burst your bubble.
We kind of got worked up into a frenzy almost. People were just going insane. There's one point where we're kind of spinning in this circle in the middle, and usually you're kind of yip, you, woo, but people were screaming. And they were yelling things do it for the lotto!
What do you get when you kiss a guy? You get enough chairs to catch pneumonia.
Do you think the audience could hear "Do It for the Lotto"?
I really hope not.
Never fall in love again.
You can see why they would get so worked up about this. These people had not had a day off, none of them in 2 months, which actually brings us to one of the difficult things about doing dance as a job. this way in which I think dance is probably more difficult than other kinds of performance, like touring as a musician or acting in a play for 8 shows a week.
You have to find ways to break up the monotony of doing something like that, because it's not even like you have a role to throw yourself into. So to have something else to add to the show or spice up the show, I think helps a lot, because otherwise you can just easily just be going through the motions.
That's right. I hadn't thought about that. It's actually a job where you don't get a day off, and every single day you do exactly the same thing.
Yes.
And like exactly the same thing. Like it's not like other jobs where like you're working a cash register and it sort of seems like you're doing the same thing, but you're actually talking to different people and you're doing this and that.
Yeah.
But you're actually like literally making exactly the same motions around the stage and uttering the same sounds out of your mouth. It's exactly the same every day.
Yeah. We try to find other ways to try to spice up the show. Like, okay, in this number, you have to do as many random 360-degree turns as you can.
Really?
Or in this one, you have to do as many head twitches as you can fit in.
Never fall in love again. I'll never fall in love again.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would remind you that these women here have dream jobs. Monica over there started training for what she is doing before you right this second when she was 7 years old. Anna started at a more typical age for a dancer. She started when she was 5. I'll just ask you, when did you begin training for your jobs? And this problem with repetition, I have to say, I understand this in a small way, repetition in performance. This problem of doing the same thing every night on stage, I don't know why performers don't talk about this more. I know this in a small way because I go out and give these talks about our public radio show. And there was a period where I would just line up like 5 in a row and do one after another, night after night. And I would find myself on stage talking about this stuff which could not mean more to me, right? Like it just means the world to me. And I would hear the words coming out of my mouth, and it was just like, it just meant nothing. It was like gum I had chewed too many times. It was like that week that I decided that Katy Perry's song Firework was the greatest song I ever heard. And then I listened to it so many times that now I can never listen to it again. I find myself on stage talking about these things that are so important, and it's just the words are totally empty. And I think that giving talks or dance or music or theater as a job, once it becomes your job, it's like some part of it means taking something that means so much to you, and then you have to repeat it until it doesn't mean anything at all. Though, on the night of this big Mega Millions drawing for this dance troupe, definitely not a problem.
The audience was really reacting to the amount of energy that we were putting out. Like, they were going nuts. Like, they'd be breaking out into applause in the middle of numbers, and just like the amount of volume coming from the audience, like you could just tell. Definitely the best show on tour, but it was because we wanted to win the lottery. It's because we were greedy.
Never fall in love again. What do you get when you kiss a guy? You get another chance to catch pneumonia.
Was it the actual best night of Riverdance you ever were in?
Yeah, like at the end of the show, I almost felt like I was on some kind of like crazy drug, because I was like, yes, do it for the lottery. You know, like you've gotten yourself so worked up at that point.
Don't tell me what it's all about, 'cause I've been there and I'm glad I'm out of those chains that bind you. That is why I'm here to remind you.
Because so they come off stage, it's like 10:15, 10:20, something like that, and it's like they are stoned on adrenaline, like they are buzzing. They are so hyped up by this physical activity. The lottery is at 11 o'clock. They gather at the hotel bar, and I'm not going to pretend there's any kind of suspense here, okay? They lose. They lose, and they are stunned. Some of them actually ask, they are so sure there must be a mistake, they want to see all 340 tickets for themselves and go through them. It just made no sense at all. Nobody even hung around, Katie said, to drink this off. They all go straight to bed. Next day, they did a lousy show. incredibly low energy. And okay, here's the disturbing thing. Audience loved it. Could not tell the difference. Which means one of two things, okay? Either number one, these are such skilled performers, right? And this material, the Riverdance material, is so inherently solid that even on their worst day, it's still pretty impressive. Or possibility number two, kind of, I think more interesting, I think when all of us come together in a group, in an audience, in a beautiful room like we're in right here, right now, I think we're also full of hope. You know, that the performers will be amazing, that the comedians will be funny, the music will kill. I think our optimism makes us stupid. At least at first.
They're gonna see kind of what they want to see. They came wanting to see this thing. They think you're giving them all this energy and this amazing performance, and that's what they're going to see.
Monica Bill Barnes, Anna Bass. The Monica Bill Barnes Dance Company.